Alright, welcome back everybody, Matitude22. We're gonna get right into it. You know the video because you saw the title. It is top 20 time again. It is the top 20 figures of 2023. 2023 was a interesting year, not just for myself, but in general. So you already know how this video works because you've probably, like myself, you've probably watched 100 of these. I do it a little bit differently. I always go 20 figures because 10 is simply not enough. And I try to do various categories. That way it gives everything an opportunity to get represented, because let's be honest, if I was doing a top 20 without categories, there's a lot of stuff that would not even be considered for contention, and probably this list would be half Figuarts and imports. So I like to have a different category for everything, and it also gives a good sight into what I was collecting this year and what I was really into. So the categories can range from different company to different property. As always, I'll explain these categories as we go through the video. There is a couple categories from last year that are not returning. Jurassic Park got cut simply because I don't think I bought any Jurassic Park figures this year. I don't think I got anything from Jurassic Park or anything from Jurassic World. If I did, I can't even remember it, which probably is a good indication that probably it didn't make that much of an impression on me. Super 7 did not make a return this year for the same reason. I just didn't really buy any Super 7 figures this year. They didn't really put anything out that I was interested in. So Super 7 did not make a return, and Predators did not make a return. AVP did not make a return this year for the same reason. I think the only thing related to AVP that I got this year was the Feral Predator. And let's be honest, if I would have made a category for Predator, it would have just been him by default, and that kind of defeats the point. In order for a category to get considered, I had to at least buy multiple things to at least be able to look at least 3-4 figures to be able to look at and say, like, okay, well, this was the one I liked best. So we're gonna get started. If there's anything else, I'll explain it on the way. Let's just do it. Let's start the video. All right, so taking the 20th spot, kicking off the countdown, representing G.I. Joe Classified, we have Copperhead. This was an interesting year for G.I. Joe Classified. This was by far the category I struggled with the most, just like I did last year, but for different reasons. You see, last year was such a heavy year for G.I. Joe. We got the Dr. Mindbender, we got Serpentor, we got Sergeant Slaughter, we got that Storm Shadow. We just got so many awesome G.I. Joe figures. This year, I feel like the Joes, for me personally, were just not, they just didn't go as hard as they did last year. So Copperhead but Copperhead by far is definitely my favorite. G.I. Joe does move down from last year. I don't remember what they were last year, but last year for G.I. Joe, I had Serpentor and the Air Chariot, and he came fairly high. Copperhead is just a pretty simplistic figure. He's kind of plain, but I do really like the helmet. I do love the helmet. I do love how he just feels kind of mysterious. But there is still some character there. Nice tattoo. They did a really good job on that. And this is just a cool character. Love the gun that he comes with. Love the big machete. Is he perfect? No. I mean, they could have maybe given him some more accessories. And I think in the annals of G.I. Joe, I think he has like a boat, right? Because he's kind of like a swamp guy. Could he have come with the boat, and would that have put him higher? Yeah, absolutely. But for what it is, I like this figure. I just think he looks really menacing. I think this just looks like a guy that you would not want to mess around with. You would not want to tangle with this guy. Accessories, the accessories that he does come with are good. Wish he came with a little more, but this was my personal favorite GI Joe figure. In a year where I just don't think the GI Joe game was as strong, and some people might disagree with that. That's totally fine. That's just me. That's just where I'm at. But he's still good enough to be on the list. Number 20 for GI Joe Classified, we have Copperhead. All right, and taking the number 19 spot, representing the Power Rangers Lightning Collection, we have Blue Centurion. This is a good figure. I don't think there's anything wrong with this figure. It just falls into the same category as a Copperhead. Had he come with the motorcycle, he probably would have been a lot higher. But I think in terms of Power Rangers, I still think this is the best release. Sculpting, absolutely on point. Again, aside from the motorcycle, they gave him all the accessories you needed. And he just looks cool. He just looks like a cool police robot. And I'm super nostalgic for Blue Centurion, because I remember I had the original toy as a child. My mom bought it for me, and I remember just loving that figure. And I played with that figure so much that I wore all his joints out, and I think eventually he just broke. That figure did also come with the motorcycle, which again I really think he should have come with. But nonetheless, yeah, Blue Centurion, just such a nice figure. I think this is perfect. I just love the way he looks, and I love the colors are popping. I love the translucent lights. Very nice detail here. I guess, with Lightning Collection being on hiatus, will Lightning Collection have a spot in this very countdown next year? I don't know. We'll have to remain to be seen. But in terms of Power Rangers, there was other stuff I considered, but yeah, just Blue Centurion, just such a great looking figure, and I'm a little nostalgic for it, so that does kind of definitely help. Number 19, Blue Centurion. Number 18, representing Spawn / McFarlane, but mostly the Spawn stuff, we have Medieval Spawn. This figure is so cool. He's just a badass looking knight. I love all the chains and all the little armor bits. Love the way he's sculpted. Love the sword. Mine did unfortunately come with the arm popping off and the hammer being super warped. That does definitely hinder my enjoyment of this figure, but other than that, this is just great for like a modern medieval Spawn. I know this is the one we got because the more classic medieval Spawn I think is going to be a Kickstarter. Will I get that one? That remains to be seen, but for now, this is just perfect. I love how just menacing he looks. The accessories are great. Hammer's a little warped. That could be easily fixed. But I just think this figure was the best. Again, in a year where Spawn took a little bit of a drop for me personally. And there just wasn't as many heavy hitters as there was last year. But yeah, this medieval Spawn, this is just a cool, badass looking knight. I love how he's sculpted. Like, look at the detail in this belt piece, like with the chains hanging down and the skull. Just looks great. And the paint sculpting, it's McFarlane as only McFarlane could do. He's awesome. I think he's the best Spawn figure we got this year. That's why he's taking the number 18 spot for Spawn and McFarlane, which I didn't count anything. I didn't consider anything DC for this category because DC does have its own a little section which will be much higher inevitably. But for Spawn and McFarlane, we have medieval Spawn. He's great, and he was only $20, so very economical. And number 17 from Diamond Select, we have from Invincible, we have the Deluxe Monster Girl set. This is what Diamond Select does best. It's just a big chunky piece of plastic. It's just a big monster. It's solid. She's definitely got some weight. If there was anything that did keep it a little bit lower in the countdown, it's just that I wish this wasn't a 2-pack, and I wish I would have just had the option to just buy this version on its own. But nonetheless, this is just still a cool figure. Looks like it was ripped right out of the comic or right out of the cartoon. And again, this is Diamond Select at their best. It's just a big, weighted, chunky piece of plastic. I really, really like this figure. If this is a sign of what's to come in the Invincible line, especially for larger characters, then I think it's going to be awesome. Diamond Select, they knocked it out of the park with this one. Number 17, Deluxe Monster Girl from Diamond. Number 16, taking the wrestling spot, taking the best wrestling figure spot, we have the Ultimate Seth Rollins. Admittedly, this was a figure I was not overly hyped for. This was not even something I really was thinking about, and until I got it in hand. There's just so much good stuff going on with this figure. All the head sculpts, like that head sculpt is just absolutely perfect, and it just absolutely it just captures Seth, this character, this version of Seth so perfectly. I love the different hand options. This has got the painted on chest hair, which is a very, very nice feature. And the soft goods robe, like with the fur. Mattel did an absolutely amazing job with this figure. The Logan Paul came very, very close. If we're looking at what was a really good figure, I did really like the Scott Steiner a lot, but as soon as I kind of got this Seth in hand, and the more I played with him, and the more I kind of messed around with this figure, the more I was just like, yeah, this is gonna be it. I just don't think Jazzwares really underdelivered this year. I just don't think they put out as much good stuff. I did like Private Party. I did think they were good. I didn't think they were great. Boss Fight Studios had some heavy hitters, but obviously we got Power Town. So a lot of good wrestling figures this year. A lot of potential entries, but this Seth is just so perfect. That's why I couldn't leave him off. He had to get the 16th spot. Taking the spot for all of wrestling figures, all my wrestling figures that I collected, all the lines of wrestling. We have the Ultimate, I don't remember which series it is, but Ultimate Seth Rollins soft goods robe. I love it. And coming in at number 15, we have Mecha Godzilla. This is a model kit. I'm not really sure what the company is, but this figure is so good. I love the height. Comes in at a nice 10 inches. So, he's going to stand taller than my NECA Godzilla, which is perfect. I always do like my villains to be a little bit bigger. He just looks really cool. He comes with different display options, so you can make certain versions of Mecha Godzilla, or you can kind of swap different parts to make your own version. I think that is very cool. I did give him the spot for Godzilla. I did add a Godzilla category to this year's countdown because I did buy enough different Godzilla figures from enough different companies that it sort of warranted having its own category. And just for shelf presence, just for how badass he looks, just for how tall he looks, I had to give it to Mecha Godzilla. And he's super articulated. He's very articulated. Tail looks great. I think he would have been higher had he not been a model kit. Because the only thing is he is quite delicate. It's not something you want to be kind of playing around and posing around too much. But that actually works in favor because it's Mecha Godzilla. He doesn't need to be doing backflips. He doesn't need to be in all kinds of crazy dynamic poses. I think he's going to do exactly what he needs to. He's going to stand on my shelf and look awesome. Number 15, Mecha Godzilla. Quick side note. I'm not 100% sure this figure came out this year. Now, originally came out this year. When I bought this, it was an active pre-order. It was on pre-order. I did do some research, and I think this may or may not have been a reissue. It's hard to say for sure, but because he was on pre-order, and when I did look up some reviews from him on YouTube, and there was a lot of reviews from him this year, so I'm counting him this year. If it's a reissue, oh well, it's new to me, damn it. We have Mecha Godzilla model kit. He's awesome. And now we have our second new category. At the 14th spot, we have Dawson Toys with their Inu Yasha. This is, of course, a third-party figure. I chose to create a category for domestic anime figures because I really got hard into collecting. Please, nobody cut that and take that out of context. I really went hard into collecting like the Dragon Stars and the anime heroes. I think their figures were just a vast improvement, and I chose to put Dawson in that category because he was only like $40-ish. Didn't feel right to put him with the imports. Again, imports will have its own category. But yeah, this figure is so good. Just like I said about the Seth Rollins, soft goods are perfect. The accessories are perfect. The face sculpt, I think they nailed it. Again, just it looks like if you ripped him right out of the anime. I think Tetsaiga looks very nice. I wish he held it a little better, and he does hold it very well. The wrist is a little wiggly for my liking, but I think he still looks great. And yeah, like in terms of just anime figures, you know, I watched Inu Yasha was one of the first animes I watched. So when I saw this, I was so ecstatic. Couldn't wait to get it, and that's why he is the 14th spot. So representing all of my domestic under $50 anime figures from Dawson, we have their Inuyasha. And coming in at lucky number 13, I ended up combining two categories here because this was my favorite Mezco figure and this was my favorite video game figure. So this can be, you can count this as whichever one you want, but taking both those spots, we have the Mezco pyramid head, or red pyramid thing as it says on the box. I don't care, he's pyramid head to me. Mezco always comes with their A game. Mezco just giving us great quality figures year after year. Pyramid head, no exception. Like, just look at the paint apps on the apron. Just look how good the apron looks. Look, they so perfectly captured like dry blood. Like you just really get the feeling that, you know, like that's just been there for a long time. Like he's not hitting his local laundromat after. Just all the great details, all the great paint apps, accessories. They over delivered with the accessories. They gave us so many cool blood effects, and they gave us just so many different stuff. As only Mezco could do. The sword, the spear, both awesome. I just truly love this figure, and this is just one where, again, you know, I can't. He hasn't left. He hasn't left my upstairs dresser yet, because I'm just always playing with him, and I just always want to. Every time I pass by him, I just gotta pick him up and mess around with him. He just looks so cool, and again, he is an attention grabber. Like, this is something where if people come over and they're looking at your displays and they're skimming by, they see this and they're like, "What the heck is that?" He looks awesome. Mezco hit it out of the park. Video game figure, he's the best, hands down. Number 13, we have the pyramid head / red pyramid thing. That's what it says on the box. I don't care. It's pyramid head, okay? It's just pyramid head. And at number 12, we have Marvel Legends Blob. This was a figure I did not expect to like as much as I did. It's just, Blob is a long overdue character. We've needed a Blob for so long, and he shouldn't be as good as he is. The face sculpt is so perfect. I love the proportions. I love how he's not as gross as the Toy Biz one. He doesn't look as disgusting as the Toy Biz. The Toy Biz one that figure was the only Blob for a long time, but this totally blows that out of the water. Anybody that says the Toy Biz Blob is better than this is wrong, wrong, wrong. Yeah, he's just so awesome. He's just a big, hefty, chunky figure. Face sculpt is good, and there is a little bit something to be said for how badly we needed this character. I can't think of a Marvel Legends personally that I liked better than Blob. Again, Marvel Legends for me definitely saw a drop in how much Legends I got, so maybe that's a little bit of it. But yeah, this figure is just incredible. I don't see a lot of people talking about Blob anymore, and I wonder if it's because he did come out quite some time ago and Legends has put out so much since then. But for me, he is still by far my favorite, taking the spot for Marvel Legends. We have Fred Dukes, we have the Blob. And coming in at number 11, we take a trip to Target, we take a trip to Holothon. It is Zog from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage line. Like I said with the Monster Girl, like I said with the Blob, this is just an awesome, hefty, monstrous figure. But NECA really over-delivered on this. The face sculpt, just all the different texturing, everything going on with this figure. I love this guy so much. And it's such a sleeper character too. Like, Zog is not a character that people really tend to talk about all that often. And he just had no business being this good. This was easily my favorite Ninja Turtles figure. I thought about having Armagon in this spot because I did really like the arcade Armagon a lot, but it's sort of debatable when he came out. I chose to leave him off, but yeah, this Zog is just so cool. Even if you don't care about the Triceratons, even if you don't care about Mirage, this is just a really badass figure. Like I said, all the texturing, the way his skin looks just so dry, and he's just awesome. NECA hit it out of the park. Super 7 did not bring their A game this year. I don't think Super 7 put out very much of anything turtle wise, so there was no competition. There was just no competition. Taking the halfway point, the 11 spot for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we have the Mirage Zog. All right, and we are at the halfway point. I thought this would be the perfect time to stop and do a recap, but first I want to tell you about my brand new podcast. It is called Matt Talks Pop Culture. It is a podcast where we talk about all things related to movies and comics and video games and anime and anything that fits into the world of pop culture. So if you're into that, and if you like, I assume you like all these great properties, that's why you're here checking this video out. Do come over and check us out on Spotify. Do subscribe if you feel so inclined. And so all right, so recap. So we got the first 10 figures. We got the first half of the countdown in the books. So we have number 20 representing G.I. Joe Classified. We have Copperhead. We have Blue Centurion coming in at number 19, representing Power Rangers Lightning Collection. Medieval Spawn took the 18th spot for Spawn / McFarlane. And then Monster Girl was 17, the Deluxe Monster Girl. The Deluxe Monster Girl from Invincible. Just a great figure. At the number 16 spot, we have WWE Ultimate Seth Rollins, representing all the wrestling figures that I bought. Coming in at 15, we have Mecha Godzilla, the model kit that took the spot for Godzilla, and all different companies that made Godzilla figures that I bought from. Number 14, we have Dawson Inu Yasha, who was the winner in the category for best anime figure under $50. Lucky number 13, which was a 2-in-1. We have Mezco Pyramid Head. He could be the best Mezco figure. He could be the best video game figure. He's both whichever one you want. And at number 12 from Marvel Legends, we have the mighty Blob. And at 11, right at that halfway point, representing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, from NECA, we have Zog from the Mirage comics. Great first half. But yeah, let's not mince words. Let's just get right into the second half of my top 20 of 2023. And right at the number 10 spot, we have Masters of the Universe, Masterverse. Too bad. He's taken the spot for best Motu figure. How could he not? This is just such a cool figure. And Mattel really did him a service. Comes with tons of different accessories, display options for all the accessories. And they gave him some height. They made him slightly... He's slightly taller, slightly heftier than sort of a standard figure. He is a deluxe figure. He does carry that deluxe price point, but he just looks so awesome, and just the amount of different display options and different weapons you get really put him over the top. This is a figure that I had upstairs for a long time. He was a dresser figure for a very, very long time because he was just so much fun. Just looks so cool, and it is a great display piece. I can't think of anything Motu that, for me, was better than this. Too bad. That's why I am giving him the number 10 spot. Representing Motu, we have Masterverse. Too bad. Number 9, taking the spot for Star Wars Black Series, we have Chrysanthemum from the Book of Boba Fett. It really, really was a toss-up between him and Darth Malgus. Both figures absolutely stunning. The only thing that sort of gave Chrysanthemum the edge is I don't have as much of attachment to the Darth Malgus character. Never really played Knights of the Old Republic, so there just wasn't attachment. Whereas Chrysanthemum, he was by far my favorite part of Book of Boba Fett. I think actually this character is criminally underutilized in that show. That being said, I love this figure a lot. This is the Chrysanthemum we needed to get last year. I think they did such a perfect job. There is a couple things where he could have been better. I think the TVC is the best Chrysanthemum. I think they put out the best Chrysanthemum with the best accessories. Don't collect that scale. Don't have that figure, but he is still a really, really solid release. And yeah, he was just so great in that show. In terms of Black Series, it was always going to be him or Malgus. Malgus. It was always going to be one of the two, but my attachment to the character just put him slightly over the top. Number 9, we have Chrysanthemum from the Book of Boba Fett, taking the win for Star Wars Black Series. Number 8, we have my favorite miscellaneous figure. Of course, the miscellaneous category is one that is counted by figures where I only purchased one. Indiana Jones from the Adventure series, I only bought that figure. I didn't get anything else from that line. He was a close contender, but the 3-0 Bloodshot is just so good. Like, this really feels like a Figuarts figure. The soft goods t-shirt is really nice. He really comes with a nice amount of guns and accessories. And yeah, it's just so cool. There is a little bit of this was my first 3-0 figure, so was totally like a new experience for me. But yeah, he is just so cool. He's one that I knew was going to be on this countdown. I knew he was going to take the spot from miscellaneous. There was some other ones that were in close consideration. Like I said, the Indiana Jones was very close, but yeah, Bloodshot, just so good. I love this figure. I really hope 3-0 does more characters from the Valiant universe, like an Exo-Man of War, Ninjak. Oh man, all those would be great. I'm here for it. And there is a little bit of a sentimentality here because JDF played Bloodshot in the Bat in the Sun Valiant movie that they did. I forget who was the main character in that movie. I think it was Ninjak. So there's a little bit of that. But this is just a cool character, cool figure. and my first 3-0. So yeah, he definitely had to take the spot. Number 8, best miscellaneous figure. We have 3-0's Bloodshot. And number 7, a figure a lot of people got last year. I only got him this year. Our last new category, the best figure from Dungeons and Dragons, by far, hands down. We have NECA's Warduke. Of course, 2023, really the year for Dungeons and Dragons. NECA gave us some really cool offerings. Hasbro gave us a lot of figures. The Xanthar was really nice too, and he was really close to being considered. He was like the runner-up by far. Seems like Super 7 is jumping on the Dungeons and Dragons train next year. They seemingly picked up the license for the animated stuff from Hasbro. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Hasbro NECA, really 2023, really the year for Dungeons and Dragons. And this is one that I got him very early on in 2023. The whole year I knew he was going to be on this countdown. Admittedly, there is a thing where he came out. I got him so early in 2023. Like I said, a lot of people had this on their 2022 list. But he did gradually move down a couple spots. Like he did, like he went from being like a solid number 1 to maybe like number 2 to top 5. Just because, like better stuff comes out, and the more time you have with something, the less impressive it is. So there is something to be said about that, but this is still an awesome figure. Best figure in the NECA Dungeons and Dragons line, in my opinion. Best overall Dungeons and Dragons figure of 2023. We have NECA's Warduke. Wow, he is so cool. And yeah, he is the number 7. And at number 6, we have a figure that not enough people are talking about. I could not have anticipated he was going to be in this high in the countdown, but the more and more I got all my figures together, the more and more I looked, the more and more I was just like, yeah, this figure is just really incredible. Taking the spot for the Storm Collectibles category, even though a lot of Storm figures were just one-offs, I did kind of group them together. We have Baki, the Storm Collectibles Baki. Storm's, I think, first foray into like anime figures. He is just unbelievable, so posable, just so many different unique poses and stuff you can get into. And if you've kind of seen the show, you know that it's a show about fighting and martial arts. Soft goods shorts are great. I don't think Storm did anything that could have rivaled this Baki. The Suzuki was really nice. Mortal Kombat, again, this was a year where we didn't get as much Mortal Kombat, and this was the first year in a while where they didn't give us really a big kind of monsterish character, which I would usually have on the list. I think the only Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat figure I got was Kano. But yeah, Baki, excellent figure. I know this guy's pretty hard to get. This is actually the KO version. It is the KO version, but I don't care. I'm still giving him the spot. Just do yourself a favor, get this figure. If you don't want to, if you can't get the original, which I know he's quite hard to come by, he's going for a lot on the aftermarket. Get yourself the KO because it is perfect. That is why I gave him the number 6 spot, representing Storm Collectibles. We have the Baki Hanma, that is. Top 5 time, and coming in right at the number 5 from NECA, we have the Armored Xanatos from the Gargoyles line. This is, I think, one of the best figures NECA put out. I did give him the win for the NECA category. I do always give NECA their own category. For properties that are not related to horror and Ninja Turtles, because horror and Ninja Turtles have their own category. So this kind of represents the rest of NECA. And this is just such a cool figure. When we got the Gargoyles line, when the Gargoyles line started, it was a running start. We got that Goliath, who, if you watched that year's countdown, he was my number 1. They've been going really fast-paced with the Gargoyles, building that complete sort of core clan, building that really fast. Now it seems like 2024 we're going to be getting a lot of villains, but this Xanatos is just so cool. He does come with an alternate head if you want to have him not wearing the helmet. Big, chunky, robotic creature. What more needs to be said? The wings are cool, and something that is nice about this with the Gargoyles line, a lot of times their wings do take up a considerable amount of space, where NECA, they sort of gave him retractable wings, so his wings, you can fold them out and you could fold them in. That really should have been a staple from the Gargoyles line right from the beginning. But yeah, number 5, Armored Xanatos. This figure is just so cool. And I gave this one the edge because it's red, and red is my favorite color. But yeah, this figure is amazing. That's why he's my number 5. Armored Xanatos, taking the spot for all of NECA, not counting Turtles and Horror. And coming in at number 4 from DC Multiverse, we have the Doomsday figure. This is such a cool figure. We check a lot of boxes with this one. Classic character, check. Big figure, big character that gets a big figure, check. Awesome sculpting, check. Articulated, check. McFarlane had one job with this figure and they nailed it. It was 10 out of 10. Nothing about the figure I don't like. If there was some problems, and if there was maybe some things that kept him out of that number 1 spot, it would be the fact that the distribution, I wish he was a little easier to get. I wish he wasn't an exclusive, but he is just so good. I think this is by far the definitive Doomsday. Even if Mafex was to make a Doomsday, I don't think Mafex could top this level of sculpting and this level of just badassery. That's right, it's a word, I'm making it up. But yeah, coming in at number 4, the easily, hands down, the best DC Multiverse figure this year, we have Gold Label Doomsday from the Doomsday Superman 2-pack. And for number 3, we venture to the world of Transformers. We're talking HasLab, Sorus. Last year's countdown, Starsaber, HasLab Starsaber was number 1. Sorus does go down a couple spots just because I when we got the Starsaber, it was totally unexpected how much I like that figure. With the Sorus, I sort of knew what to expect. I love that they kept the price point. He was the same as Starsaber. And yeah, he just looks good. I love, again, all the accessories, all the different weapons. I kind of compiled all the weapons just to show you a little bit of everything. I armored him up, baby. I gave him all the weapons. I gave him all the bells and whistles. Yeah, he's just great. I haven't even kind of transformed him yet. Because he just looks so cool in this mode, and I don't really don't want to mess around with him. I suppose I should at some point though. But yeah, I really love this figure. I don't see how the next Transformers HasLab could hit as hard as the Starsaber and Sorus, and he is ultimately the best companion piece to Starsaber. That's why I gave him the number 3 spot. From Transformers, we have the HasLab Sorus. And at number 2, the silver medal, we have a figure that for a long time was number 1. Taking the import category, we have SH Figuarts Ichigo from Bleach. SH Figuarts making Bleach figures was a dream line for me. I wanted these figures for so long. Now, I know a lot of people were not happy that we got the 1,000-Year Blood War version and we're not getting original versions. I don't care. It's an import. Ichigo, it's SH Figuarts. He's perfect. I love him. Like I said, I had this guy at my number 1 spot, and there was something that kind of bumped him off. But yes, such a cool figure. Everything you would expect from Figuarts. And it seems like they're going really hard on the bleach line. We already, I do have the Renji, which I was gonna put the Renji in here and make it a 2-in-1, but then I just decided to have it just be this. And then we got Byakuya, we got Kenpachi, we got Toshiro all coming. So yeah, perfect figure. Again, for me, I don't care that it's the 1,000-Year Blood War version. I'm just happy that we got an import Ichigo from Figuarts. That's all that matters to me. He is my number 1-2 spot. I think this figure is incredible. But there was one figure I thought was more incredible. Let's find out what was number 1. All right, and just quick recap before we get to number 1. We'll quickly recap 10 to 2. So taking the 10th spot, we have Masters of the Universe. Too bad. At the number 9 spot, we have Chrysanthemum from Star Wars Black Series. Number 8, we have 3-0 Bloodshot for the miscellaneous category. Number 7, we have Warduke for the Dungeons and Dragons category. Number 6, we have Baki taking the spot for Storm Collectibles. Number 5, Armored Xanatos taking it for NECA. And then, of course, number 3, we have the DC Multiverse Doomsday. Number 4, the DC Multiverse Doomsday. Number 3 was the Transformers Death Sorus. And then number 2 for imports, we have SH Figuarts Ichigo. Now let's get to the number 1. And coming in at number 1, how could it be anything else? Representing horror as a whole, the Figura Obscura Headless Horseman. This is the retailer's appreciation Headless Horseman. I know a lot of people had this on their countdown last year. I didn't get the standard version. I got this version. I think he is great. The horse alone could be in contention. Just a solid, weighted horse that is super articulated. Yes, this one has glow-in-the-dark bits. The soft goods cape, just everything about this figure is so perfect. I can't imagine ever getting a Headless Horseman. Like, if you would have told me 3 years ago, hey, a Headless Horseman was going to be your number 1, I would not have believed you, but I just can't believe how amazing this is. There is a little bit of something where I never bought anything from Mythic Legions. I don't collect Mythic Legions, so there is something to be said about that, but this was just by far the number 1. Like I said, having the horse, having the glow-in-the-dark, soft goods cape, everything. This figure is just perfect. He is my number 1 figure of the year. And for the first time ever, a horror figure. Horror taking the top spot. That is awesome. That is so cool. I love that. I love that horror in general is getting some great representation by action figure companies. And yeah, this figure, top notch. I think he's still available. If you don't have him by now, do yourself a favor. Get this guy. He's just amazing. He was easily my number 1. As soon as I saw it, as soon as I got him in hand, it always had to be him. And there we go. We have one final shot of my top 20 figures of 2023, and this is always what I look forward to the most. This like class photo, because it really just gives you a good range and a good idea of what I was really into this year as a collector. A lot more anime related figures on the countdown than past years. 2023 has just been a great year for collecting, and I hope 2024 is just as good. Some really nice pieces here, and of course let me know in the comments. Let me know firstly if you want to see any of this stuff reviewed. I will do my best to make that happen. Let me know what your top 20 figures or your top 10 looks like. Is there anything here that you don't think belongs, or is there anything that isn't here that you do think belonged? Of course, let me know in the comments. Do like, share, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next video. And bye.